Welcome, everybody. We're going to give it a couple minutes here, just let people start to come in. We have a lot of information to share, so we're not going to be waiting too long to get started. Some incredibly valuable information to share. So excited to be here today with Rafael Amaro and his mortgage repayment program that he's going to be sharing with us tonight. So it's really exciting stuff. Give it one more minute here, and then we'll go ahead and get started for sure. All right. Again, welcome everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Go ahead and share my screen. All right. Well, today we're going to talk about finding your new home. And we have myself, I've been an agent with eXp Realty. I've been involved as a real estate investor for about 7 to maybe close to 10 years now. I don't like to admit my age, I guess. Getting to that point. But and Rafael Amaro with Best Life Mortgage, he's going to be sharing some amazing information on mortgage repayment program that he's going to be discussing later on today. But yes, it's really exciting stuff. We have a lease purchase program. So not only if you're a first-time home buyer, but if you're also a repeat home buyer, or if you're just on that verge where you think that, oh, I would love to be a home buyer someday, but my credit's not quite there, or maybe I don't have enough money for my down payment quite yet. I'm still working on saving that up. We've got some excellent information for you today that can help everybody in every single category. And what's really some of the people that think they're far from qualifying, maybe a lot closer than you think, and some people that think they had no chance of buying a house. We're going to share some information with you today that will realize that you can move into your dream home with little to no credit, and as long as you have down payment and stable income. We'll also be discussing some ways to find some down payment assistance to help get that down payment together that you need in a much quicker time frame. So I'm Eric, like I said, 10 years of real estate experience. I'm based in Panama City Beach, Florida. I'm part of eXp Realty, and I have a team that I'm building. I have another agent here in Panama City Beach, Courtney Hudo, and then agents in Michigan and Seattle. So we're starting to grow our team nationally. We can help people in pretty much any market. And that's the beauty with eXp Realty, is it's really easy for me to collaborate with any realtor in any market. So if you're joining us from Florida, that's great, or Panama City Beach, welcome. But if you're from another area out of the state, we can help you too. So I've been married to my beautiful wife since 2015, and I have 2 amazing boys. And it's some of my favorite things to do. Obviously, you see my profile picture there. I love being outdoors, the beach. I live a block from the beach. And my passions are gardening and cooking. So the first thing we're going to go over here is the buyer's roadmap. So for first-time home buyers, if you are not familiar with this process at all, it can seem kind of daunting, and the language that's used can be confusing. And so tonight, one of the goals of this is to kind of simplify this process and just kind of put it in layman's terms and explain it in detail so you have a complete understanding along the way, and save you a lot of headaches and tons of money from going down the wrong path. So the first and foremost, you'll want to meet with a real estate professional. And if you don't already have a realtor or an agent, reach out to me. I could set up a meeting. If you're not in my state or my area that my team can handle, then we can partner you up with an agent that's in your area that can help you. And the reason that you want an agent on your side when you start the home buying process is they have the training and experience. They know the laws in your state. They know they have the experience of what to look out for, the pitfalls to avoid in the process. And so you're putting someone on your side that has years of experience that can help you through this process and smooth out the road, avoid the speed bumps along the way. The first or the next step is getting pre-approved. And what that looks like is meeting with the lender, turning in your income documents, bank statements, and giving them your story, we call it, your background, your credit info, all that, so they can see what potential amounts you can qualify for. And that pre-approval number, what you can shop for. That's going to pretty much give you your budget of the range of homes to shop for. So it makes sense to start with the getting pre-approved before you start looking at homes that you might not have a chance of getting qualified for. So we start with the pre-approval. That's what Raphael and his team are amazing at. A lot of times that when people think they have no chance of getting approved, he can work miracles sometimes, you know. And then once we get the pre-approval and you've got your budget set, the next step is searching for homes. That's where you work with your agent. You go out and you visit homes and decide on, you know, which one that you like. Once you've got the homes picked out, the next step is making an offer. We make an offer, we negotiate it with the sellers, and then hopefully get the deal under contract. Once it's under contract, that's kind of like where the work starts. You know, that's where we get our inspections done. We finalize all the details, get all the disclosures signed and set. And then once all the final details are set, we're off to closing day. And so I'll just kind of briefly go through each of those phases and what's included. So how do you know when you're ready to buy a traditional way using bank financing? If you have a steady income, if you have low to medium debt, if you have cash for your down payment, if you've got 2 months of pay stubs and bank statements, and 2 years with the same company or in the same industry. And this is like kind of like bare minimums just to get started, you know, with the bank financing process. And we have tons of programs that if you don't quite meet all of these, that we might be able to put you through. But I'll leave that to Raphael later on to kind of explain and answer those type of questions. But getting pre-approved, it's about choosing a lender, filling out the application. The documents that you'll need to put together are pay stubs, bank statements, tax returns, proof of employment, and you'll want your credit score to be a 580 or higher, as a bare minimum 580. Now, like I said in the early parts, you know, I'm going to explain later on in this presentation that what I'm going through right now is a traditional buyers, first-time home buyers process. We do have processes, well, I'll explain a little later on, that if you don't meet these minimums, we can still help you. You'll be very surprised that the programs that we're about to offer are amazing, and we've spent years putting these things together. So after pre-approval, we go to the home search, you know, and this is where your agent comes into a huge help with you, because they have access to the MLS, the properties that are on sale. They have access to the remarks that agents and the disclosures that are there. So as you're looking for these properties, they'll be able to set up the showings for you, walk you through the houses, point out things that you should be aware of that might not be really visible or known to a layman's eye, where an agent with the training and experience and the access to the agent remarks on MLS can be a huge help in this area. But it's just a matter of whatever your budget is finding a location and a price and the bath and bedrooms that meet you, and your agent can set up searches for you in this area. Once you decide on your criteria, the agent can set up searches for that, and it could automatically notify both you and your agent if any new houses that meet that criteria show up on the MLS, so you can get there, especially in these hot markets when properties are going like quick. It's good to work with or have your agent build that search list for you so you can be the first to market. Another thing that we're doing too is, especially if you're in a really hot market, is lifting that E&D. When you go into a sales contract for a home, there's a earnest money deposit that's that buyers put down to show the sellers that they're serious. And a lot of times when you just use the typical, let's say it's a $300,000 house and you put $1,000 E&D. If you want to show you're serious, maybe it's 3,000 E&D. We like to use maybe 1.25% of the sales prices are E&D to really let the sellers know that our buyers are serious in a very competitive market. The search tools that you have at your capability, or the agent can search the MLS, the network, reach out to other agents and see what properties that they have available. And then also they usually typically have properties on their websites that they're listing and as well. So there's what we call driving for dollars in the real estate investment market. Is in the home buying process would be buying for or driving for your dream home, but driving neighborhoods that you like and looking for signs, looking for advertised open houses, visiting model homes maybe in new neighborhoods that are being built. There's also for sale by owner websites like Zillow and things like that we can look at to find properties that maybe aren't listed with an agent or on the MLS. And then the high-tech tools are automated home search systems, where we have tools like this at eXp that are just amazing, that you can put in your criteria and it will search databases across Zillow, across the MLS, and retrieve results that way. So it's just another tool that we have to help find your home as quick as possible, especially when it's a hot market. So then it comes time, once we settle on the house and you love it, yes, is making an offer. So the seller usually wants, the seller has demands usually in this type of market. So it's about negotiating and creating a win-win situation when we negotiate. We don't try and beat up sellers and take it out. We try and create win-win situations. And so it's about having those conversations and developing that relationship with the seller early on. And like I said, we have the earnest money, kind of pique the interest of the seller if you increase that earnest money a little bit. And then through the offer process, your agent will let you know about the important dates, like when you're going to be financed, when this has to be closed by, all these things that need to be happened by certain time periods in order for the closing to happen on time. Your agent will be crucial in making sure that those deadlines are met. And then the offer at that time will either be accepted. You make the offer, and they either say, "Hey, great, we love your offer, we'll take it," or they could come back with a counter offer and say, "Hey, we like your offer, but we want these changes." And then we have a decision on the counter offer to accept those changes, and it's a done deal. Or we can counter the counter offer. Sometimes when we submit an offer on the first time, the offer may be so far off from what the seller wants that they'll just outright decline the offer straight up. And so that usually means that the price needs to be brought up quite a bit from what the initial offer was, or the closing date needs to be a lot sooner. So, but your agent will help navigate you through those pitfalls as they arise. So when your offer is accepted, you have a certain time period where you need to make the earnest money deposit at the title company. Again, your agent will make you aware. In Florida here, it's usually 72 hours. They give you to get your earnest money deposit in. And that time, we'll set up an inspection. The inspection is usually mandatory. From the lenders usually mandate that an inspection happens. That way there's everything is a full disclosure, full transparency, and no one's getting into some surprises later on. So we'll order the inspection. They'll come out and go through the entire property, house, and note if there's anything that needs to be repaired. At that time, some of those repairs may be taken care of by the seller prior to the deal going through. And then the appraisal. The lender will send out an appraiser to appraise the value of the house to make sure that the offer and the amount that we're paying is in line with what the value is. So sometimes a lender can come in and say that the house is a lot less than what we're offering to pay for it. And in that case, it's up to the buyer at that time to make up the difference. So you have a choice at that time. We can either renegotiate with the seller, or if it makes sense for the buyer, they can bring up their down payment to make up the difference on what the appraisal was from the sales price. There will be insurance that will need to be purchased, property insurance, homeowners insurance, and in some cases here in Florida, a lot of flood insurance needs to be purchased because of our location next to the beach. So your agent will can refer insurance agents to you or companies to work with in that case, and then you can get those policies in place prior to the closing. Sometimes there's been situations where the current seller does have property insurance on there and it is transferable to the buyer. So if that's the case, that can all be worked out in the closing as well. We'll finalize the mortgage details, and then we do a final walkthrough of the house. So after the inspection and the repairs are made, we do a final walkthrough before the closing to make sure that the repairs have been made and everything is satisfactory and is good for us to move forward with the sale and the purchase. There's obviously costs involved with buying a house. Sometimes these costs can be negotiated in the deal. It's where the seller might pick up some of these costs or not. So your realtor, again, will help you negotiate those type of deals. But in general, these are like a list of the costs that a buyer would be expected to pay. There's the appraisal, the home inspection, the title company processing, and the mortgage underwriting and lender fees, any discount fees, recording fees, there's title insurance. So when you purchase a house, you want to make sure that no one has a lien against that property and that that title is clear. And when you do this sale and you agree to this mortgage and this loan, that you are the free and clear owner of that property once that mortgage is paid off. And so title insurance is a must to make sure that the title search is done and you own that property free and clear. There are escrow taxes and sometimes transfer taxes, or if you have an attorney or notary doing some documents, there might be some of those fees included in the closing as well. Now, some of the fees, like if it's insurance and it's being transferred, and some of that might be wrapped up in closing, the seller might be covering some of these costs. It's not as daunting as it may appear with this big list of closing costs breakdown, and Raphael can speak to that. But then we arrive at closing day, and this is the big day. You know, we go to the title company, sign all the documents. You bring your down payment check if it's already been wired prior to. That's usually typically the process is it's either wired or deposited to the title company a few days in advance so the check can clear and they know the funds are good. And then we go in, sign the documents, and they present you with the keys to your new home. So now that process, the traditional home buying process, and again, if you have more questions, or if we went kind of fast through that, you can, we'll give our contact information and some ways for you to reach out to us at the end of this webinar. And I'm going to post my contact information here just fairly shortly that you can screenshot or write down, take notes and write that down as well. But this program, this is something that I'm really proud of. My partner and I have been working on this. I've been for 2 years. He's been doing this for over 15 years. And we've really fine-tuned and nailed it down. And so for those that can't qualify the traditional way for a bank loan, maybe your credit score isn't quite there, or maybe you're self-employed and you've been taking advantage of our tax laws, and on paper, your income is not quite what it should be because of the write-offs that you've been using for your taxes. So sometimes you're not either able to get a loan, or you might get a loan with such a high rate it really doesn't make sense for you to get into a situation like that. So here in Panama City Beach, we realized there was a lot of self-employed people and a lot of people that were struggling with their credit that was just close but not quite there for bank financing. And so we came up with a program called the 10 Down program. And what's required with the 10 Down program is 10% of the down payment of the purchase price of the house that you're looking at. So let's say it's a $300,000 house, you would need $30,000 down in a situation like that. But you don't have to have credit. Your credit score doesn't have to be there right away. You'll go through a background check. You'll do some income verification. We'll partner you up with a lender like Raphael, where he can go through and say, hey, you know what? You're not quite ready yet. It's going to take a year or so before we can get you. And this is what it's going to take this is the work you're going to have to do over the next year in order to get there. Well, with that opinion and that, our investors will buy a home for you and then lease option it to you. So what you're typically, what you're actually doing is you're renting or leasing your home prior to exercising your option to buy it. And we'll partner you up with a lender like Raphael along the way. So make sure that you're taking those steps and getting you financed as quickly as possible. And in these deals, it depends on where you are on how we structure these deals, but they're usually anywhere from 12 months to 36 months. Sometimes it can be a little bit longer if needed. But with experts like Raphael working with you, we can usually get you financed a lot quicker than most people think they can on their own. So it's a really amazing program. If your credit's not quite there, all you need is 10% down. And then we do have some down payment assistance programs too that we'll talk to you a little bit later about. And they can help you to get that down payment required for those. We also occasionally have lease option houses in our own inventory. So you can shop our inventory instead of the MLS. You can say, hey, Eric, I want one of your properties. And it's the same similar process where you go through the background check and that you meet with the lender, figure out the terms that we need to set the lease agreement for, and you lease the property for 12 to 36 months. And then you exercise your option within that time and purchase the house on your own. And then we also have seller financing deals where the seller will actually be the bank. That typically requires a higher down payment, but the monthly payment is a lower monthly payment, and then you have a balloon payment in 3 to 5 years or whatever the seller financing agreement is at that time. But this is really exciting. Not a lot of agents and lenders are teamed up to provide a solution like this. And it's just a really amazing product that we're really happy that we think can help a ton of people along the way. Especially with the way the market is so uncertain right now, what's about to come. We're headed for a correction, and this will be an excellent solution when the banks tighten up their lending qualifications. So here's my contact information. You can reach me by phone at 850-601-9975. My email is my first and last name, eric.gerace@exprealty.com. And my website is my first and last name.com, ericgerace.com. So I'll leave that up here for a second to anybody to write down or screenshot. And then I'm going to go ahead and stop my share here shortly and turn it over to Raphael Amaro. He works with Best Life Mortgage. He's got some amazing programs, like I said, that He's got ways to get qualified people for a lot more money than they think they can, where banks have turned them down. He's found millions of dollars for them. He is Spanish speaking, so it's whether you're English or Spanish speaking, he can help you. I've even heard him speak a little Russian with my partner Renat. He has talents, hidden talents I don't even know of. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. I'm going to turn it over to Rafael, and thank you all very much.
All right, Eric. Well, thank you for allowing me to share some of this knowledge with our audience here.
I'm
And
excited for these people to learn this. This is amazing.
well, there's a lot of things that people do not know, and they usually do not know because they are not involved in the industry. I've been involved in financial services since the year 1999. Actually, before that, before I moved to America, I was already involved in some kind of finance. But basically, one thing that I always intrigued me, why is the rich always get ahead compared to the working class and the people that have no access to the financial education? So I decided, to come when I come to America. When I came to America, I decided to get myself educated, and through that process, met multiple clients. Some show me ways and tax advantage systems that you could use. But I'm going just to focus today on something that's very important. What you just mentioned about giving the people the opportunity to buy the house, that is on the to-do list of many American families nowadays. And if you hear on Sunday night, instead of being at the movie or enjoying an ice cream with your family, you hear it's because something say inside of you that you want to figure it out. What is the way to go get that house for your family, enough of paying rent. But one thing that put a lot of difference, and I want the audience to get that clear between what other programs up there do and what we do, is that we actually show you a way to buy the house, but most important, we actually show you a way how to pay off that mortgage in no time. Okay, and freeing up some capital. If you have to qualify for the program that requires 10 down that Eric mentioned earlier because you're not ready to be bankable, these tools that I'm going to show you is going to actually help you get there quicker, faster, and better prepared. Okay, so let's talk about this three simple easy steps to mortgage elimination. Okay, but before we get into dive into that, this is important because we were talking earlier about education. We need to find out what's going on, and this is what's going on. Okay, this is the next bubble to pop. This is not as with our conspiracy theory. This is coming from HowMuch.net, an entity that actually do a lot of research, okay, and have a lot of data. They are data mining company. Okay, so it is a really bad situation because once you pile the mortgage, student loans, revolving account, auto loans, and credit card, this is why we live in so much under financial stress. This is one of the reasons why Sunday night and Monday morning, at the day that most heart attack happen in America, financial stress. Let's see if we can help relieve some of that stress tonight and show people some path to financial independence through real estate. Okay, here we are. You know, dreaming about buying a house is in everybody's mind, okay? But this is what happened. You buying this nice looking little house, but this is what you're paying for. What is in the bottom right here on my screen, this is what you're paying for. You're buying a house, you're paying for the castle because the bank rules are in favor of the banks. So that's why, you borrow 300,000 and you end up paying 550, $600,000, depending on the interest rate, the market conditions, and all this stuff. Okay, this is how it works. You know, I keep bringing this picture because I want you to understand. By the time you finish paying your house, it probably look like this instead of that. But remember, you're paying for this right here, so it's not fun. Okay, now look at this. This is us. young, excited, we're buying our first house, we're getting our first mortgage. This is us 30 years later, 29 years after, or 29 years or 30 years after we paid the mortgage. So you probably can relate to this because you probably have seen your parents, your grandparents, or members of your family going through the same process and celebrating 30 years later that they finally paying out their mortgage. But that's not what we want to show you guys. It's a better way. Let's talk about this. Let's show you guys what is inside. Okay. Let's just talk about 30-year mortgage at 5% interest rate. Okay. In reality, you get excited when you hear the 5% interest rate, when you have 2.5% interest rate or 3% interest rate. But in reality, that's not what you're paying. You're paying a lot more than that. Okay. So my computer is have frozen. Oh my goodness. But anyway, let's keep talking about that. There's a reason why it's a bank in America on every corner. We got pharmacy in one corner, Chase in another corner, Wells Fargo in another corner. You drive 2 miles down, you find now Bank of America, Citibank, and many other local banks. Why is that? Because they're all interested on lending money to the public because they know how to create debt. And by creating debt, they're creating wealth for their investors. Okay, the biggest reason that we are here tonight, because it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that. We using the same banking rules that they used to create debt and in debt as forever. We turn the table around, and now what we're trying to do, it is actually use the same banking rule, the same accounting rule, the same finance rules in our benefits. We put them to work for you. Okay, so the idea is simple. Can we do that? Absolutely, we can. But a question raised here. What could you do with an extra $300,000 to $300,000? Okay, if you're able to save that kind of money and put it in your retirement, what would your retirement may look like? What your parents or grandparents' retirement would have been if they would have known about this opportunity to eliminate all this debt, okay, faster, easier, without doing anything different than what they're doing already, paying the mortgage. Okay, so not to overwhelm anybody because every situation is totally private. Every situation. I mean, there's no two mortgage alike. There's no financial situation similar to the other. Every single one is independent, and we need to actually evaluate how exactly this is going to work and play out. But one thing that's certain, okay, if you want to get a house today, very likely you need to get a mortgage. And if you need to get a mortgage, you need to get yourself qualified. You need to get yourself ready, bankable. You need to be able to show the bank that you have capacity or financial means to repay that loan, because otherwise they will not give you the loan. Why would they give you the loan if they might need to come back and foreclose on you? They losing money every time they do a foreclosure. And so that's not on their gain. So their gain is to lend money to someone they will never talk again unless they want them to refinance and pull the credit, pull the equity out of the house, or get a line of credit or something, keep getting in debt. That's the only time they're really, really interested on talking to you. Okay. So, of course, everybody knows about 15-year mortgage. Guess what it does? It actually sometimes double your payment to the point that some government guidance right now, FHA, Fannie Mae, would not allow you to refinance if your payments actually is going to increase $50 in top of what you're paying today. Go figure. They said they're trying to protect yourself. I guess they probably will have a good intention, but it's actually not, because if you can refinance on in FHA, Fannie Mae, and increasing shorter the term and increasing your payment, they would not allow you. So here we're not asking you to increase your payment. We're asking you to work smarter, not harder. We actually going to show you, we can show you when we get into our one-on-one meeting exactly how your situation will work. Because the most important here, guys, is what? You work already hard for your money. Isn't it your money should be for your family instead of the bank? Have you asked that question to yourself? I hope you did. And if you haven't, start thinking about that way. You should not be in a mortgage for 30 years. Borrow the money. Let us help you pay that money earlier so you can actually achieve financial freedom. All right. So we need to talk about some specifics. Okay. Let's talk about numbers. If you are 35 years old and you borrow $300,000 at 4.5% interest rate, okay, for 30 years, is equal about 1520 a month. So in total, all for all, you're gonna end up paying $547,220. That's a lot of money. In fact, that is $247,000 just on interest. Interest that you must pay the bank. Otherwise, they will come and take your house. Okay, but it doesn't have to be that way. Okay, I understand. I sound like a broken record, but it doesn't have to be that way. That's a better way, a smarter way to do it. So reality is there's not many people out there that know this method, okay, how to pay it, but it's a few enough to be very dangerous to the financial system. We don't want to be dangerous to the financial system because we want you to get in debt. Hear me out. We want you to get in debt, but let us help you pay that debt down. So when you can buy one house, two house, three house, and then all of a sudden start your monopoly game, you can buy one, two, three, four, pay them off and continue doing so. Continue creating wealth for your family. So Eric has presented to you guys great opportunities, awesome programs in order to be able to qualify. Okay, I'm gonna add to that. You know, invite us to your conversation. Let us see if we can help you because we might be able to be helped now, or we might be able to put a plan in place to help you 3 months from now, 6 months from now. You'd be amazed how many people are running around not knowing what's their scores, and they're looking at Credit Karma. They believe they got an excellent credit. Guess what? Credit Karma is a good indicator, but it's not the indicator that the banks are using to approve you. So you might need to fix a few things because there's mortgage credit, there's a credit report for auto insurance, there's a credit report when you buy a cell phone. Okay, there's a credit report for a few many things. There's a credit report when you apply for a job. There are multiple credit scores. Guess what? Let us help you. Let's see if we can guide you through this process and make this American dream achievable for you. Thank you for your time. And if you guys have any question, you can reach me through Eric. I'll be here a few more minutes to answer any question you probably have. Thank you, Eric. You can take it back.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Raphael. Yeah, it's just an amazing program. So we can help get you into a house. And then when you do, and Raphael will help you secure the loan and get the loan. And then not only that, he can help you pay it off early. So you're not paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in extra interest to the banks. And so I'm just so happy to be a part of this team and here to help people as much as possible. So thank you all for being here tonight. If we have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and put my link for the application. So if you're interested, this is just the best place to get started, is to fill out an application for our 10 down program, because through that program, we're going to put you in touch with a lender like Raphael here, and we'll put you in touch with him, and we'll go through the process of getting qualified first. And if that doesn't work out, then the 10 down program will kick in. So I'm going to go ahead and put that link again in the chat. It's on my website. And then anybody that comes through this application, we'll go ahead and turn you over to Raphael to go through that process. So thank you all again very much. Also too, I just wanted to mention, I have, like I mentioned early on, I'm part of EXP and I have a team here in Michigan and in Washington. So we're going to start hosting these to like be location specific, so I'm here in Florida. I know the Florida laws. I'm licensed here in Florida. I can help people buying in the state of Florida. And I have teammates in Washington and Michigan that can help people in those states as well. And we're going to start, these webinars are going to be a weekly thing. We're going to change up the topics a little bit each week to talk about our down payment assistance programs, our lease option, seller financing, uh, uh, all those just amazing topics and amazing wealth of information. We have Raphael's experience and my partner's experience with market analysis, so we can talk up too about the market and where we think it's going and what the best strategies to buy a house in any market. So thanks again for being here. We really appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Eric, if I may,
Yes, sir.
there's something that I want actually communicate to the audience. There is no, should not be any stress anymore. You have a low credit, okay? Low credit doesn't matter anymore, okay? With the programs that we currently have, low credit doesn't matter. We still can buy it, okay? Low down doesn't matter. We can still help you out. That's important. Do not postpone the purchase of your house just because your credit is not good or you don't have enough. Talk to us. You know, we may have that solution that you didn't know about it. All right. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, something I just want to piggyback off that because something came to me earlier today. The difference between obstacles and challenges. People used to look at low credit as an obstacle to buying a house, and you and I, we see that as a challenge. Oh, we can get you a house, and here's how. And everything that we do is based on years of experience and the laws, and it's all legal and upfront. It's just it took us a long time and a lot of years of experience to figure out these processes and to see them all come together to now where you said it's right. It's a stress reliever where people don't have to really fear the home buying process anymore. And it's an amazing way for us to be able to help people when they thought that they weren't able to achieve the American dream of owning their own home. So,
Awesome.
all righty. Well, thank you all. Thank you very much for being here. And we will see you next week.